Boyd Stough here with Aspire Revenue, and we're here on a beautiful Charleston, South Carolina day on King Street. We're at Vuitton, which is 180 King Street, where Natalie Billy, the purveyor, specializes in gifts and home decor. We're here for a very specific reason, and we chose this spot because it's just a great example of a customer experience, a wonderful customer experience from beginning to end. And that's what we're really here to talk about, is engineering an ideal customer experience through something we call Touchpoint choreography, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's the stringing together a series of touch points in a manner that acknowledges and appreciates the emotional realities from the customer's perspective, strings them together, engineers them together in a way that produces a consistent, ideal outcome. Now, what is Touchpoint choreography? Well, in essence, it's idealized experience design. So we start out with an objective. What do we want the customer to do? We want them to buy something. We want them to come back and buy again, and we want them to tell others to buy. So can we engineer that outcome? And the answer is yes. Well, how do we do it? Well, from start to finish, we string together these individual events in an emotionally true and honest manner to pull that kind of outcome consistently out of the consumer. We start with something called priming the RAS. Now, if you've ever tried to get anybody to do anything, if you've ever been in marketing or marketed anything, effectively what you've tried to do is prime the RAS. You've tried to capture the attention and the awareness of the consumer and to drive them to make a decision, a buying decision. Well, in this instance, we have a storefront, a beautiful storefront, which actually functions as an invitation. If it's effective as an invitation, it will, for a brief moment of time, it will block out all other considerations in the mind of the passerby, okay, the prospective consumer. If the person's watching television or is on the internet or is listening to the radio, the same thing happens. If it's just so interesting and if it's hitting that person, that particular client or consumer at a particular time, it will focus their awareness on that thing. Now, it's in that time that you have an opportunity to communicate the message, the value of what you do in a very powerful manner. So the reticular activating system functions with something called your prefrontal cortex, or what is often called your executive mind. And they work in concert to establish objectives, and the reticular activating system is going to say, okay, this is our objective, and we're going to assign value of everything in our environment as against that specific objective. Okay? So here's a great example. Let's say that I invite you out to lunch. Okay? It's about lunchtime here in Charleston, and I invite you out to a Chinese restaurant. Okay? So we're going to go and have Chinese food. We're all very hungry. So we sit down and we have Chinese food, and we have a fork and a knife and a spoon and chopsticks, and we have a plate and we have a table. Now, your fork and your knife and your spoon and your chopsticks are all utensils, right? They're used for eating. The plate on the table, of course, it's there to hold the food. The table is there to hold the plate and the utensils, right? But now let's say you're enjoying this wonderful, this wonderful meal at this Chinese restaurant, and suddenly in walks a guy with a chainsaw. Okay, the guy walks in with a chainsaw. Well, now your fork and your knife and your spoon and your chopsticks are all what? That's right, they're weapons. What about your plate? Well, it's a weapon. What about your table? Shelter. Well, what happened? Well, what happened was that the RAS walked in with the intention, the objective of, eating a meal. And so everything in the environment, when it walked through that door, when it walked into that frame of the restaurant, everything in that environment had a value assigned to it that was against the objective of eating. But when the guy walked through the door with the chainsaw, suddenly surviving became slightly more important than eating, right? So everything in your environment took on an entirely new value. So this is the science, this is the importance of priming the RAS, the reticular activating system, of your potential consumer. And then understanding that when you've captured their attention, they're expecting you, okay? They're expecting you to provide them with enough information to help validate in their mind the decision to move forward through, for instance, here today, through the store, and possibly through a purchase, and possibly through promotion of that purchase to others on, say, Instagram. Okay, so that's what we want to talk about today, was the reticular activating system. I've included a little bit of information below this video about the reticular activating system. If you're in marketing, if you're in business, quite frankly, if you're just interested in the science of personal development, get to know it and understand it. Okay, again, this is Boyd Stough at Aspire Revenue. We do this all day, every day. We help businesses improve their customer experience that leads to emotionally satisfying experiences for customers, for employees, and for owners. And if you're interested in that kind of a thing, reach out to me today at 210-722-1120 or espy revenue, that's ESPY revenue.com.